Hey everybody, welcome back to Happily Hester After. So those of you that have been following us for the past couple months know that back in February, Daryl and I found out that we were pregnant when we were at the doctor's office trying to have our pre-op to have my polyp removed. We found out that we were pregnant and we had one of the greatest months that we've had in a while. And then at our 8-week appointment, we found out that we lost a baby. It still feels kind of weird to say. Like, you know, after something like that happens, you have to go and tell everybody, and every time it just feels like the wrong words to be saying, you know? Even if it's not like super painful and bringing you to tears, it's just something that's awkward to say. Hey, I know last time that you saw me I was pregnant, but now I'm not. But anyway, I know that in that last video you all were so amazing and so supportive and full of so much love, and I just want to thank you all so much for being a part of this journey with us and following along with us and praying for this just as much and just as hard as we are. It means so much, especially to me, especially after everything that's been happening. I really needed that encouragement, so thank you all so much for it. I know that there are a lot of questions that you all might be having, which is my point in making this video, trying to kind of answer them as best as I can. So basically what happened was, if you've been following along with my pregnancy vlogs, I had voiced some concerns about some bleeding and some cramping that I had during the pregnancy. And you know, at the time I thought, you know, everything's fine, because honestly y'all, it was different this time. The pregnancy was different this time than it was with my first. After I want to say about 5-6 weeks, I just knew, like deep down in my heart, I knew like this is it. Like this is happening, no matter what anybody says, no matter what, you know, the enemy tries to make me think, this is happening. And you know, I talked about that in the pregnancy vlog about how my HCG numbers started to drop, but they didn't, the thing was that they didn't like drop like they did when I was miscarrying the first time. So I'm thinking like, oh well, then it should be fine, because I'm thinking that it has to do with the bleeding that I was experiencing, and I'm thinking the bleeding had more to do with the polyp and my uterus being tilted and all the other kind of things I had going on. I'm thinking that, you know, oh, it's okay, it'll just fluctuate. So I had taken a break from doing the HCG for the last, I want to say 2 weeks of my pregnancy, because it was just stressing me out. And you know, the doctors started speaking negatively. My numbers hadn't even dropped all the way down. They had just started dropping a little, and they just started immediately speaking negative, and I just was not having it. So I just took a break from doctors, took a break from numbers, took a break from everything, and just focused on, you know, doing the best that I could for my child and taking care of myself and taking care of them. And when I went to the 8-week scan, I just knew within my heart, the deepest part of my heart, that the baby was there. I had still had all my symptoms. My stomach was growing like huge, like outside of bloating, but I would be like, haven't eaten in a minute and my stomach is still huge. So I'm still seeing the evidence. I'm still having these really weird symptoms, like a lot of earwax and stuff. So I'm thinking when I go into the appointment that, you know, all those doctors are going to be proven wrong, and you know, God is going to be proven right, and that this is it. And we were in there, and I was laying on the table, and she started to do a vaginal ultrasound. Yes, because they don't do a what is it called, transabdominal or whatever, abdominal one, until like 16 weeks or something. And at the time I was supposed to have been 8 weeks. And again, I'm just thinking, this is it, you know, we're gonna see the baby. I'm just waiting for her to say it, I just needed to hear her say that the baby was healthy and growing and I had nothing to worry about, and you know, the polyp would go away during the birth and everything was gonna be okay. And then all she says is, there's no baby. And, you know, then the fighter in me comes up and I'm like, what do you mean there's no baby? Have you tried to do, I know since my uterus is tilted, maybe you might have to do an abdominal. I read online some women weren't able to see the baby during the vaginals. Maybe we should try an abdominal. Maybe we should try, you know, this, that. I'm just at this point grasping because I just know, like, this is it. Like, what are you telling me that this isn't it for? I know. You may not see the baby, but I feel the baby. I know. And she says, no, there's no baby. Look, there's your uterus. It's collapsed. There's no baby. And I think at that moment, everything just kind of stopped for me. You know, like, I was hearing what she was saying, but I just couldn't believe it. You know, in my brain, I'm just thinking to myself, like, what is she talking about? This wasn't like last time. This is supposed to be it. And then she looks on the computer and she finds the HCG levels, and she was like, you know, it looks like that bleeding that you had, which at the time the doctor called spotting, but she said it looks like that bleeding that you had was a miscarriage. And honestly, y'all, I just felt broken. I just felt like I just couldn't. And, you know, I want to say that I put on a brave face and, you know, I did my best to show Christ, but I just cried and I cried and I cried, and I didn't want to stop. I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to. It was like everything in my world just stopped. And, you know, the doctor told me I had to go ahead and have my HCG tested again to make sure that it had dropped all the way down. And, you know, we needed to go ahead and get the surgery scheduled. And she's saying all these things, and in my head, I'm just like, there's no baby, just over and over again. And then she leaves, and then my mother-in-law and my husband, they're trying to talk to me, but I just couldn't. I was just crying. It was too much. And then, and this is crazy, I've talked to you all about this bedside manner before, then the nurse or whatever walks in and is like, you know, I know you're going through a lot right now, but we really need the room. And in the back of my head, I'm like, the worst thing that has ever happened to me has just happened again, and you're up in here trying to kick me up out of this room. So I wouldn't hear it anyway, because I was just broken. I was just torn apart, just crying. I was like, whatever. And then, you know, she came back, and then finally, you know, my husband just was like, you know, hey, help me get dressed, and then we just had to leave. And then I just got in the car, and it was I'm not gonna go into too much detail with that, but those first couple days I was in a dark place, and it feels like something that, you know, I shouldn't be saying, because I'm supposed to be Christian, I'm supposed to be showing Christ and everything, but I feel like a large part of showing Christ is being able to admit and to talk about the times when you feel sad, just broken, just hope. Like, I feel like as a Christian, it's important to be able to admit and embrace your weaknesses so that God can make you strong again. And at that time, I was weaker than I had been in a long time. That was probably the first time in years that I felt depression come on me so heavy as it did, like when I was a teenager. And I was, you know, very depressed and suicidal, and that was the first time in a long time that I've been to that dark of a place. I just could not believe it. I just could not accept it. I just wanted to go back to a couple hours ago when I was pregnant and everything was fine, and I just knew without a shadow of a doubt that, you know, this baby was gonna make it. And I couldn't go back. I couldn't the doctor couldn't unsay what she said. We couldn't unfind what we found, and I had to accept it. So that was it. Our miracle pregnancy was over. And, you know, honestly, there are so many emotions that you have when you have a miscarriage, or when you're miscarrying, or when you know you had a miscarriage. And I just felt so many things. First of all, I just felt super emotional. And not to mention, I still had a lot of my pregnancy symptoms for days after I found out that I had miscarried. So nothing made sense to me. I was just confused. I was lost, and I just didn't care. And honestly, for that first day, I wanted to give up, and I was just laying in my bed, and I didn't want to get out of it. I just wanted to sit in bed and watch crime shows and, you know, never have to go out and face the world again. And then, you know, the second day, my husband called the big guns in, my mother-in-law, and, you know, she took me out, and she, you know, tried to encourage me and, you know, help me out of that place. And she did, because honestly, if she hadn't have not necessarily dragged me out of bed, but highly encouraged me to get out of bed, I would have stayed in it, and I don't think I would have gotten out for a long time. And she said something that was really, I don't want to say important, but just really, I'm losing my words, y'all. She said something that was really impactful to me. She said, if you don't get up now, it's going to get harder later. And I was like, that's true. Honestly, I need to get up, and I need to start getting back into my life. But it was hard. And honestly, the question is, how am I really? How am I now? I'll tell y'all what I told my friends. Some days I am great. Sometimes not so much. And it doesn't even go in terms of days anymore. It was days at first. But now I'll have my moments where I'm just like, but for the most part, I am better. I am better, and I am just working on building my life up again, restoring my relationship with God. Because honestly, in the beginning, I felt so betrayed. I felt so, and this is, I mean, it's kind of embarrassing to say, but I was mad at God after I first found out that I lost the baby, because it hit me a lot harder this time than it did the first time. The first time, you know, it was hard, but I was 19 at the time. We had barely been married for a year. The doctor was telling me, you know, you're young, you'll bounce back. I'm sure you'll be pregnant, you know, in no time. And, you know, I went with that, and I was like, okay, it's okay. You know, we're going to bounce back from this, and, you know, everything's going to be okay. And then a year went by, and I wasn't pregnant. And then another year went by, and I wasn't pregnant. And then going into the third year, I was just like, and then I found out that I was pregnant, and I was just so sure. I was just so sure. Like, nobody could tell me. I just knew. And I think after it was over, I felt a lot like I was being punished unnecessarily, because we were getting the surgery. That's what I kept saying. We were getting the surgery. It just felt like unnecessary pain to me. And I had to work past that. I had to realize that, you know, I may not necessarily understand why. And I don't know if I'll ever really understand why. But it happened. And all I can do now is move forward and trust that it happened for a reason, and trust that the plan that God has for me is greater than I can imagine, and trust that all things are going to work out and just trust that all things are going to work out for my good. As the scripture says, all things work together for the good of those that love the Lord. So I just had to remind myself that, you know what, you might not need to understand it. And actually, so how am I now? I am, like I said, I'm better. I don't think I'll ever be the same as I was before this last loss. And I don't think I would want to. In these past few weeks, I thought that I was strong before. You know, I lost a baby. I thought that I was strong. But once I lost another baby, oh, I found strength that I did not even know that I had. Because when I tell y'all, I was in a dark place. And I really, in the aftermath of it all, I really did see how strong I really am. And how, you know, strong God is. That he kept me and he protected me even in the midst of my own carelessness and just being depressed. You know, when you're depressed, you're just careless. You just stop caring. And, you know, even though I stopped caring, God never did. So, but I'm better. I am working on building my business up. I'm working on preparing myself, especially for whenever I do get pregnant, because at this point, you know, we got the polyp removed. That'll probably be one of the next few videos. I think I'm gonna make a couple videos about miscarriage, just because I feel like it is a topic that isn't talked about enough, and there are a lot of women out there who feel guilty, who feel shameful, who feel all these negative emotions, and they just need something that tells them that, you know, it's okay to feel what you're feeling, but it's also okay to get better. So I'm probably gonna make a couple of videos on that topic, and then we're probably gonna go ahead and post the videos from the surgery. But and those are gonna be, we found out some stuff. So, and I guess that is a positive thing to glean from this, that we found something out that we would not have known before. So that's a good thing. So make sure that y'all are subscribed so that you can subscribe and hit that bell button so that you can receive notifications whenever all these new videos post. I could talk for the rest of the day, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to take up any more of y'all's time. Again, thank you all so much for watching us and joining us on this journey, and just, you know, just keep hoping, y'all. Keep on. We're all gonna keep on praying for hashtag baby H, baby Hester, just because at this point, when the miracle does come to pass, y'all thought I was gonna act up. Y'all thought I was acting up this time. I'm gonna just I'm gonna be all kinds of acting up, because it has been a road. But anyway, back at the ranch. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Again, don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell button, all that good stuff. Hit that like button on this video, and comment below if you have any questions, or, you know, want to offer any encouragement or any advice or anything. As always, you already know what to do. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Just remember, God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. And Lord willing, I will see y'all next time.